How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. As we approach the regular season, things are starting to heat up. Obviously, a couple injuries have bubbled to the surface. We have some new information regarding DJ LeMahieu. Brian Cashman is going to talk this morning, so by the time you see this episode, there'll probably be a whole bunch of other information we'll discuss later on. But wanted to just address DJ LeMahieu's injury. Obviously, a little sneak peek into what the opening day lineup might look like today against the Minnesota Twins. So, lots of things unfolding in real time as we approach the regular season. But guys, it's going to be a really, really exciting, long campaign, and we're going to be here every step of the way. So if you enjoy the podcast, make sure to drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe for daily updates and digestion of the Yankees and everything that's going on with them. But let's dive right into DJ LeMahieu, Ryan, and what his role has kind of become. And he probably ends up on the IL, if I had to guess. They say he's going to miss quite some time. The tweak, it's nothing like significant, but calf injuries are tough to rebound from, especially at his age, coming back from other injuries in his feet. So I don't view DJ LeMahieu as a piece on this roster right now. I think that he is probably better off being, cut and using a guy like Peraza as depth piece instead. However, they're going to put him on the IL because they want the insurance money. And I think that's probably what ends up happening with LeMahieu. He ends up going and landing on the IL. His impact is gone. He's done. He made, one appearance? He didn't even make it through 2 at-bats. He got injured before he got through the second at-bat. So, what do you visualize happens here with LeMahieu? I think he's probably done as a Yankee. We may never see him play another inning for this team again unless, worst case scenario unfolds and we just need him desperately at some point. But, the roster spot seems more valuable than just paying him to stay around. I feel like that's probably where we're at right now.
Yeah, at this point in time, DJ LeMahieu is just not good. He's not good. He's not reliable health-wise. It is not to his fault. I think the injuries have taken a toll on him. This is someone who was a phenomenal Yankee for a few years, and, I don't want to take away from that. I think it's important to acknowledge how good he was before these injuries, and not write off his career at the Yankees as one of complete and utter failure. His body betrayed him. He had a career 113 WRC plus with the Yankees. He put up 13.9 WAR. The Yankees signed him in 2019 to what I think is one of the best contracts that Brian Cashman has ever handed out. Unfortunately, he's followed it up with, just not a great second contract. Even that second contract wasn't off to the worst start in the world because he accumulated 5.2 FWAR through his first 2 seasons in that deal. And, it's a $15 million deal. When you get 5.2 WAR, you're off to an actually pretty decent start. You generated about, I think it would have been the math off the top of my head is it's well past 30 million. According to Fangraphs, that math is around $40 million, 40.1. Yeah, so a little bit ahead of schedule. Even in 2023, he wasn't great, but he was a serviceable big leaguer. He's accumulated in his time with the Yankees during that $90 million contract $46.7 million worth of WAR, according to Fangraphs. The problem is that I don't expect him to accumulate any more. When he was at $50 million through the first 3 years, it looked like he was on pace to at least return something of an investment for the Yankees, or maybe stay on a path where he could do it. But again, injuries have eaten into his career. I think that is the best way to define this. And at this point, Alex, as you mentioned, unreliable, ineffective. Yankees need to cut their losses. I don't see the reason to keep trying this out and keep trying to make this work and keep looking at your infield depth chart and saying it's fine that Oswald Peraza is the backup infielder. It's fine that Oswaldo Cabrera moves from a utility man role where he can help you across the diamond to a role where he's stuck at third base and isn't going to really be allowed to rover. That it's fine that Pablo Reyes might end up being your best option in the infield outside of Cabrera. That Andrew Velasquez has a real shot at making this team because of the injuries in the infield. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep going into seasons with an incomplete roster, and the Yankees need to address the infield. LeMahieu is not an answer. He's not going to come back and become an answer. He's not going to magically heal up and find his 2022 form again. Not even 2019. Not MVP. Not potential to lead the league in batting average. I'm talking a year where he put up a 115 WRC plus and slugged 377. That's not happening. That's not happening again. Not for the New York Yankees, not for DJ LeMahieu, not any time in the rest of his career. Those days are behind him. So, unfortunately for him, that's just the reality of the situation. I'm just frustrated that we're in this situation talking about the infield and there's no solution. Do I think the Yankees will add an infielder? I still hold out hope that they will, but they need to go get one. Like, this situation has become a nightmare for the Yankees in the infield. They don't have a third baseman. I still don't think they have a plan at third base. Peraza is not a plan at third base. LeMahieu is not a plan at third base. It's going, I guess there's nothing else on the market. And I'll tell you this, there are guys who have signed from the right-handed side with other teams on minor league deals. Now, those can come down to preference. Jose Iglesias could have just decided, if I'm going to play New York, it will be for the Mets. If not, I'll go play in San Diego, where smaller market, little more individuality, playing for the Padres and with the Yankees, warm weather, et cetera, et cetera. You're on the West Coast, much better for the entertainment business aspect of his career. I know he's, a pop star now, and that may be a priority for him. It's not my money. It's not my life. I don't think I should have any, judgment for him. Whatever he thinks is going to be best for his career post playing and currently playing, that's on him. Brendan Rodgers went with the Astros on a minor league deal. We talk about both these guys as guys who can hit left-handed pitching. He may have decided that the Astros were just a better fit for his swing. Left field, Minute Maid or Daikin Park now, whatever they call it, that left field wall is extremely favorable for right-handed hitters. I get it. But it's not that I'm blaming the Yankees for not signing an individual player. It's that after a slew of infielders have come off the market and a slew of trade candidates have come off the market on the infield side, the Yankees still don't have someone, if that makes sense. There's not an individual player I'm going to criticize them for not getting. It's that they don't have one right now, and until that changes, fans are going to be rightfully upset.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right now, also Jose Iglesias, he signed a minor league deal. I don't know why the Yankees couldn't have signed one of these guys just to compete. I know Cashman speaking this morning, maybe he'll address the third base position, or rather what their plan is there. But it seems to me that Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza are going to be the primary options, Cabrera being the starter and Peraza being the backup. Peraza right now has no minor league options left, so if he's cooked, he's getting cut, and he's probably leaving because another team will pick him up. Another team like the White Sox, or a team that needs more depth that could utilize a player like that. So the Yankees, I mean, I know a lot of people, Ryan, in the comments have been like, Ryan hates Peraza, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't think you hate Peraza. I think you just acknowledge that he's not that good of a player. There's a reason the Yankees have never given him a shot to start games, and we've had really bad options at a lot of positions at times. You know what I mean? So whether it be injury or inconsistency, he's never been given a chance. And I'll lean on the Yankees and say, if they don't think that he's ready for that type of job, then I don't know why we should be. So, with that being said, he'll probably make the roster unless they make an acquisition. I think Peraza back a couple of years ago had a lot more value. Injuries, inconsistencies, lost the job to Volpe. He even said, that one sucked. That hurt a lot. That probably hurt his confidence quite a bit. So, I'm looking at getting better and not staying the same or getting worse. That's kind of where my head's at right now. But if Peraza ends up being a depth piece on this team, so be it. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I just don't really think he's starting caliber. Oswaldo Cabrera is equally as good defensively at third base as him, and probably a slightly better offensive player. So, obviously we hope Cabrera can get his on-base percentage up, and, batting average can get a little bit better. He's looked pretty good in terms of plate discipline this spring, but, small sample, so I'm not going to put much stock in it. But, let's talk about the opening day lineup, that kind of getting a sneak peek today, what that might look like. The Yankees had Trent Grisham in this lineup today, so I don't love that. Do you think that Grisham starting this season in center field is realistic with Stanton missing time, or do you think that they should just keep the outfield alignment the same, Judge in right, Bellinger center, Jason in left, and then Ben Rice should be the DH? Who should be your preferred DH here? Because they have a little bit of a weird thing going on today with the lineup. I prefer Judge to stay in right field and for Ben Rice to be the DH instead of Grisham.
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting conversation to definitely be had regarding how the Yankees should throw out their opening day lineup. Now, do I think Trent Grisham has won the center field job on March 6th? No. Do I think this is a lineup orientation or alignment we could see on opening day? Yes. And look, I do love Ben Rice, and I would like to see him DH, as you mentioned, have Bellinger in center, Dominguez in left, Judge in right. That just makes sense to me. I think that's just how I would do it. And I think that when you look at, especially against right-handed pitching, it would benefit the Yankees to just have as many options as possible that can hit. I also think if you look at Giancarlo Stanton, his availability, which I guess we'll get a better insight into after Brian Cashman speaks. Look, I'm not going to bank on Giancarlo Stanton coming back in the very near future. And that's like weeks. I mean, like, I don't think he's going to be back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Maybe I'm wrong. If he is, that'd be, really good for the Yankees because they are projected to be very bad against left-handed pitching as currently constructed. But I would prefer to see what Ben Rice has at DH at the moment. But I do get the thought process, and I can get the argument behind Grisham. Because if Grisham plays center field and you put Bellinger in left and you put Judge and Dominguez splitting time in right, you have your best defensive alignment, you lean into your best skill as often as possible, and you should still hit home runs. We have to acknowledge the fact that Ben Rice is a risk and that there is risk in Ben Rice and that there isn't a known way to, kind of figure out what he's going to be at the major league level, and that we do kind of know what Trent Grisham is at the major league level. Good defensive center fielder, 90-ish WRC plus, good amount of slug, good amount of walks, knocking it for a high average, and he's probably going to strike out a good bit. So Trent Grisham is you know what you have. Ben Rice is you don't know what you have. Ben Rice has more upside. Trent Grisham, maybe he creeps up to 100 WRC plus, just maybe. I don't really see it, but just maybe. I think there's logic to both. But I would roll with Rice. And I think you and I can agree we'll take the upside with the risk of not knowing what the player is. Because worst case scenario, you can just plug in Trent Grisham. Or worst case scenario, Stan comes back and then he just opts in Rice to AAA, and then he's kind of an afterthought at that point. Or maybe he gets another chance down the road and then he finally proves himself. So I think Ben Rice has earned the opportunity to play. The signaling from the organization when you hear reports is that they love this guy. And if you love someone, play them or trade them, right? If you love a prospect, if the organization thinks they're good, if other organizations believe that player is good, play them or trade them. That's my philosophy. That's kind of how I roll. So, the Yankees, I know that people are going to say they waste young talent, this and that. I mean, we see people claiming that George Lombard Jr. should be the third baseman, which crazy. But I do think the Yankees do a pretty good job of if they like a guy, he plays. If they don't, they don't. I could go through a laundry list of examples here. I mean, in 2023, Austin Wells was an average hitter in AAA, and the Yankees promoted him after just a couple of months. Jason Dominguez spent he had a vacation in Scranton, honestly. It was a work trip. It was not a stint in AAA. It was a work trip. Comes up, plays well, tears the UCL. I think that kind of just cost him so many defensive reps that he's a little bit behind the eight ball, and the Yankees weren't comfortable throwing him out there in the postseason. A decision that maybe was the right one, kind of given what we've seen defensively early on. I think Dominguez will progress into a good enough defender that I won't care. Not to say he's a good defender, he'll ever be one, but if he puts up -4 defensive runs saved, Alex, I'm not going to care. I will not care less if he's like a -4 DRS guy, but they were aggressive with him. They were aggressive with Wells. Volpe had a stint in AAA, didn't perform very well there, and then he won the shortstop job the next year. So, the Yankees are aggressive with these guys. On the pitching side of the ball, I mean, Luis Gil threw under 30 innings from 2022 to 2023, and the Yankees said, yeah, sure, we'll make him our full-time fifth starter until Garrett Cole figures this crap out. And then when everyone was healthy at the end of the season, it was Gil who remained in the rotation and Marcus Stroman who was pulled out of it. So I don't want to hear that noise either. Clark Schmidt, very aggressive in pushing him as a starter. Even when everyone in Yankee fandom wanted him pulled from the rotation, the Yankees kept him in the rotation, and they continued to develop him in 2023. And to kind of address also, because I guess this ties into Oswald Peraza a little bit here, because I know, as you mentioned, people have been very Ryan hates Peraza. Why does Ryan hate? I don't hate anybody. Well, I hate some people, but not for baseball-related reasons. Oswald Peraza isn't good. The Yankees have told you, regardless of your individual opinion, everyone's allowed their own opinion, and if I'm not saying it's a 0% chance he's ever a good big leaguer, but the Yankees have told you they don't believe in this guy. As Alex has referenced time and time again, when the Yankees have had holes in their infield, they have never gone to themselves and said, okay, we're in a competitive window, we're trying to make a playoff spot, we're trying to make a playoff push, we have a hole in our infield, Oswald Peraza, I choose you. They've always gone, I guess. We got no one else. You want to play for a weekend? Sure, I guess, dude. He was pretty good, actually, in that one weekend he played in Detroit. And then he sent his ass back to Scranton. What does that tell you about the player? Or at least what they think of the player. It tells you they don't think the player is very good. And so when the signaling goes from, we're not going to play you even though we did not have a third baseman for half a season, to, oh yeah, no, he can platoon with Oswaldo Cabrera. I'm going to say, no, he can't. Absolutely not. Don't tell me that you don't think a player is good, or signal that a player isn't good, or treat a player as if they're not good, and then tell me they're a big leaguer. They're not. You've told me they're not a big leaguer. I'm holding the Yankees to their own actions. And there is nothing from spring training that has indicated this is a player who's made massive progressions. Ben Rice, 2 balls that he's hit this spring training are the 2 hardest hit balls of his pro career, dude. Will Warren is throwing changeups we've never seen him throw before. You get what I'm saying? Oswald Peraza is still making bad swing decisions, still not hitting the ball hard. Okay, so what has changed? Nothing. So until something changes, until the player plays better, until the organization really does show me that they believe in the guy, I'm going to sit back and say, I don't buy it for a second that they think he's a good player. Joel Sherman said they're looking for a right-handed bat in the corner in outfield or at third base. Why would they be looking for one if they believe in Oswald Peraza? He's cheap. He costs nothing. You could just roll him out there. I mean, it sounds like the Yankees believe in Everson Pereira more than they do in Oswald Peraza. Just want you to think about that one for a second, Alex. They might actually genuinely believe in Everson Pereira way more than they do in Oswald Peraza. That's just the signaling I'm getting from the organization. So, throw me on crucify me, burn me at the stake, whatever you want to do. The Yankees have told you, the Yankee fan, Oswald Peraza is not good. I'm simply relaying and reminding to the Yankee fan that the Yankees have told you this is not a good player, and that I just seriously doubt they're not going to add someone in the infield.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a very big need, I'd say, for the team right now. Maybe Cashman has answers today. We'll get back to you on that front. But interesting to see how this lineup looks. A little preview in today's game against Minnesota. Hopefully, a couple tweaks here and there. But guys they want to feature, like you said, they find ways to get them involved. And I do think that when it comes to DH, I would prefer to see Ben Rice, because I think that the more reps he gets, the more experience he gets, the better he's going to be. We know what Trent Grisham is, Ryan. We know what Trent Grisham is. He can hit some power sometimes. He'll luck into some home runs. He's going to hit below 200. He's not a great player. Maybe he's an 85, 90 WRC plus guy. Ben Rice has the upside to be a 110 plus WRC plus guy. I want to see him get that opportunity to get there. Because how do you ever expect a player to develop and get better if you never give him a chance? I think that he's ready for it. So we'll see how the Yankees approach this. But I do think we've got some big decisions upcoming over the next couple of days and weeks. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section about DJ LeMahieu, how you think the opening day lineup will unfold. Very interesting stuff to come. But as I mentioned, make sure to like and subscribe, 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.